Disclaimer. The following video is meant to be watched exclusively by the people that have just gone through lobotomy surgery for the purpose of making their neurons start working once again. If you have somehow stumbled upon this footage without going through the needed procedure, it is highly recommended to close off this video unless you want to become even more stupid than you already are for playing a game called Eternal Towers of Hell. You have been warned.
This is Tower of Eternal Void. It's a horrific difficulty, mixed progression-based tower located in Pit of Misery. It was made by 28.5 million Robux Stealer, C. Lazulski, Blockerman, and some others. It's composed of the first 10 floors of the original Citadel of Void, but nerfed to be humanly possible. Many jumps. Okay, yeah, you get the idea, we've all have heard of this tower before. What's actually important for this video in specific though is how this was the first horrific tower to ever be beaten legit. Yes, this, not ToVH. It's literally been 5 years since that tower got verified at this point. Can we like just actually let it go and just admit the fact that it was never horror in the first place and it's literally easier than TOCR, my ass? Back to ToEV though. First horrific tower ever verified, right? Or so would you think. Alright, it's finally the time we talk about something that has been bugging me for a really long time. Because I think we've all been lied to. Not just misinformed, not just confused. I mean straight up lied to. And it's all about Tower of Eternal Void and Eternal Towers of Hell. Yeah, that tower. The one everyone hypes up as this legendary borderline impossible horrific difficulty tower. Except, what if I told you it was never horrific to begin with? Let's break this down. For years, the community has labeled Tower of Eternal Void as horrific. One of the hardest things you could possibly beat. A badge of honor, a flex, a statement. But when you actually look at the gameplay, the mechanics, the structure, it just doesn't line up. Like, not even close. If you compare it to actual horrific towers, the ones that truly deserve that label, you start noticing something weird. Tower of Eternal Void is consistent. It's learnable. It doesn't demand the same level of raw precision, unpredictability, or punishment that actual horrific towers do. And that's where the truth starts to show. Because what Tower of Eternal Void actually resembles is catastrophic difficulty. Yeah, I said it, catastrophic. A tier that's still insanely hard, but not mythically impossible. A tier where top players can realistically grind, learn, and conquer without needing near-perfect execution every second. And suddenly, everything starts to make sense. So why has it been called horrific all this time? Why has everyone just accepted it? Simple. Because the top hobby players benefit from that label. Just think about it. If you beat a catastrophic tower, that's impressive. But if people believe it's horrific, now you're suddenly on a whole different level. Now you're one of the best. Now you have bragging rights that sound insane to everyone else. And I'm not saying that every top player sat in that room and planned this out, but let's be honest, they all knew. Absolutely all of them knew the difficulty didn't match. They knew it was easier than true horrific towers, and yet, no one corrected it. No one stepped in and said, hey, this isn't actually horrific. Because why would they? That would mean giving up the illusion, giving up the prestige. And meanwhile, what about the newer players? They're sitting there thinking, wow, I'll never be that good. This is impossible. I shouldn't even try. All because of a label that was never accurate in the first place. That's the real problem here. It's not about the difficulty tiers. It's about how misinformation shapes the entire community. Look, I'm not trying to say Tower of Eternal Void is easy. It's not. It's still a massive challenge. Still something to be proud of beating. But calling it horrific? That's exaggeration at best. And deception at worst. Because at the end of the day, it wasn't an impossible tower that got conquered. It was a very hard tower. Wearing a mask it never deserved. And honestly, I think it's time we should stop pretending otherwise. Now, if even after all of this you still don't believe me, it just said how much of a gullible person you must be, really. But regardless, I've still got a few things up my sleeve that will leave you no choice but to finally see the truth. At first I was gonna do a short interview across some of the ToEV victors to further prove my point, but everybody fucking ignored me, so yeah. I was kinda naive on my end to genuinely believe that anyone among these cowards would be willing to give up the illusion, not gonna lie. But there is still one more thing that I can do, which will finally put a clear end to this story and reveal who was truly right and wrong for all these years. Why just yap about some Illuminati type bullshit? Why try and even clear traitors that wouldn't be much of a use anyways? What's even the point in doing all of that when you can just go ahead and beat the tower yourself?